to part 2 of my Alabama versus Oklahoma college football playoff semifinal preview. Today I'm going to talk about the two quarterbacks in this matchup, mainly because who doesn't want to talk about the two quarterbacks in the matchup? By the two quarterbacks, of course, I'm meaning Kyler Murray and Tua Tagovailoa. So I like to break down a certain set of stats that kind of let me know some things that I find important about a quarterback statistics. A lot of people just look at total passing yards or like completion percentage, and they don't keep it in context or see it in relation to what those stats mean overall for how a team performs or operates. So I'm going to break that down for you and show you what I mean by that, and then give you some analysis of what those do. So I'll start out with the Oklahoma quarterback because my channel usually focuses on Alabama. So I like to give you all some information about Oklahoma. So first of all, with Kyler Murray, let's get into his stats. It's 4,053 yards passing on the season on 340 attempts and 241 completions. He has a 71% completion percentage. So keep that in mind. He also has basically, it's 11.9, but it's basically 12 yards per attempt, which is a very important statistic in how I do my analysis, and 16.8 or 17 yards per completion, which is also significant for the number that he has on the yards per attempt. So for as many pass attempts that he has, this is why yards per attempt is important. So for as many pass attempts that he has, this means that he gets more production in terms of larger gains from a single throw on average. So this means he is seemingly taking more shots downfield, or possibly all the short completions are turning into big gains. And more likely though, but he's hitting on some big ones. So the efficiency of this is determined by completion percentage. So Kyler's just so happens to be really great. So not only is that he's on the average single throw that he makes, he's getting larger production on average, but he seems to be very efficient while doing this at the same time. He's not missing a bunch of passes and then getting lucky on big completions. He's on average making great throws and getting sizable completions out of those throws. That means that he's doing a great job throwing the ball downfield, and he's not careless with the ball, or he's not being negatively affected by the defense with that 71% completion percentage. That's just really impressive. Now, with that in mind, then you have to consider Tua's numbers. So Tua has 3,353 yards passing. That's on 294 attempts, so he has 64 less passing attempts than Kyler Murray on 199 completions, which is 42 less completions than Kyler Murray. Tua has an 11.4 yards per attempt, so him and Kyler are hanging around the same area on that number, and 16.8 or 17 yards per completion, the same number as Kyler Murray, on 67.7 or 68% completion percentage. Two very high numbers for completion percentage for quarterbacks, especially with how and they throw the ball. So like I said, the same metrics, what I was talking about with Kyler earlier, about how he gets more production on average on a single throw and he's very efficient with it. Those same things that I said applies to Tua as well, as you can see based upon those numbers. These two are almost identical in terms of the simple numbers. So when I break all this down, they average over a first down a throw, and they are very efficient while doing so. Like over a first down, it's like almost like every time they throw the ball, they're averaging getting the first down. They are not carelessly chucking the ball upfield. They are getting big gains with efficiency. So you would know that they weren't, or indicated that they weren't getting big gains with efficiency, is if their completion percentage just were low. So like if their completion percentage was like 52% or something like that, then you would know that they're having a rough day throwing the ball, and just that when they complete them, that's when they're getting their yards. But these two have a high completion percentage as well as a high yards per attempt, as well as a high yards per completion. That's just really, really great. One thing to consider with that efficiency though, is you have to think about it in a lot of ways. You have to think about why. So it could be that they throw underneath passes and their receivers get a ton of yards after the catch. Now, while that is a real possibility for some teams, that's not the case for these guys. And I can especially see this with Tua because I watched him the most. His play You can even see he even ignores his check downs at times just so he can see the play downfield. You can see that he goes for large gains. Tua's not just hitting guys underneath and they're getting a ton of yak yards. They're actually hitting intermediate and deep passes on the regular. And that's really, really impressive with the completion percentage at 68% and for Kyler at 71%. So obviously people will ask about level of competition and whatnot, but that's not the point here. So I'm not going to get into that, at least not in this video. So OU fans, I'm going to tell you respect Tua's ability, and Alabama fans, I'm going to tell you respect Kyler Murray's ability. See you on the next video.